Hello, everybody. We are glad that you have joined us for our Session 2 Q&A for Google Drive and apps. We designate our Thursday session for questions and answers for you guys to be able to ask a question and us support you in the particular course that you're in. Where we will start out on the home page of our course. Do want to remind you of a couple of things. The course is self-paced. All coursework is due by August 15th in order to receive your credits. Let me remind you also about after you complete your modules, you have your staff evaluation form. Please make sure you complete that because that does help us in evaluating our course and doing a self-evaluation of ourselves and making sure we improve our courses. Then you'll have your certificate of completion, which once that generates, you will send a copy to Myra Warwick's in staff development, as well as receive a badge, which is like your branding for your course that you can download and use that in your signature pages or actually show that off that you've completed that course. So with that being said, we're going to start out with questions. If there are any, if you could post those in the chat, and we'll get started. There is an attendance link inside of your announcements at the top of your course on your homepage. Also, Lisa has put that link inside of the chat. So make sure that you click on the link and complete the actual attendance form. And this you can actually see is the link inside of your announcements. So do we have any questions about Google Drive and apps? Pretty much everything we've downloaded inside of the course is pretty self-explanatory. We do have several links inside of there to help support you with videos and things like that to make you feel more comfortable with Google Apps. Just remember that Google is constantly changing things. So if a button decides that it wants to be green instead of red, then we definitely don't have any control over that. So just bear with those things. Let me remind you also that if you do have questions, if you can post those in the chat, but if you have just started into your course and you really don't have any questions, you can always email us and we will support you in that manner as well. So are there any questions inside of Google Drive and apps? And remember, our contact information is also on the homepage. So reach out to us if you need anything. We are not going to keep you or hold you on the call just to, waste time or whatever, because if you don't have questions, we just wanted to offer our support at this time. Cole or Lisa, is there anything you want to say? I'm trying to read this question. Could you show me what actually happens to a Google Doc when we assign it? The student receives a copy, works on it, and submits it. What happens to their copy and where does it go? So if you force a copy for your students to actually, there's two ways to make sure students get a copy. You can do force copy inside the link, as well as they can do file make a copy. That means that they are the owner of that actual Google Doc or Google Slide or Google Sheet. So what happens then is they will rename it. It will go into their drive, and they can then complete the assignment or actually complete the Google Doc, but they would need to share that back to you because they are the owner of that. So it does exactly like it does for you. Whenever you make a copy, it is located in your drive. That's the same thing that happens to the students.
Is she referring to the Google Doc cloud assignment? Or I know the wording might have recently changed on that, but it's what it used to be called.
She's technically in Google Drive and app, so I think she's just learning about the basics of Google Docs, Cole, I
Gotcha,
think.
gotcha, gotcha.
Yes, Miss Christine, it will go to what happens when you create a Google Classroom is you actually receive a classroom folder. And then you'll have the name of that actual course inside of there. And there should be all the work should go inside of that folder. You would just need to organize it. Great questions. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to ask? And let me remind you, if there's something that you can't think of today, just make sure that you know that we're always just an email away. Cole, Lisa, you got anything to say?
As you guys are going through the different assignments and modules, just keep yourself self-paced so that you can finish it by August 15th. You guys are really asking some great questions, and we're really happy to see that you guys are pushing yourselves through the different coursework that sits in this course.
So when you do build labels and contacts, Miss Elizabeth, those used to be call groups. So they have changed the name to labels. So yes, whenever you go to create that label, that's the purpose in learning about the label in contact is that you can actually, once you go to compose that email, you will have that group or label there to generate for you. Hey, Sellers, so proud of you. I think Miss Sellers, who is the principal at Peterson, she's actually been in all of our sessions. So very glad to have our principals involved in our courses. Dee, thank you for the compliment.
Yes, Ms. Chapman, you just go ahead and type the name of that label, and it should have drop down just like it would an email address. And you should be able to just go ahead and send your email to that group.
Cole, you may want to talk about the seller's question about the staff email, the groups. She's asking, can they use the groups that they use for staff emails?
As of right now, the staff email groups, staff can use them. Students obviously cannot. We do not want students emailing staff groups. I would say just be courteous, and I would hope if that I was the principal or the administrator at a school, uh, you know, you need to have some way of communication or dialogue with your staff to make sure that you don't want the staff email group to be used or abused, you know, uh, and someone sending out stuff that may not be appropriate to all the staff if you have staff members. It is possible to set managers on these staff groups so that only certain approved users could send messages to the staff. So if you wanted just the administration at the school, which might include the principal, the AP, possibly the media coordinator, maybe the guidance counselors, some staff like that, that only they would have permission to email the staff. That could absolutely be set up by us here at the technology department for you. But as of currently, any staff can use your staff groups. So I would just have a dialogue with the staff to make sure they know what's appropriate, what's not appropriate to be using those staff groups. And if you would like some more delegation or control over those staff groups, we can certainly work with you on that.
Okay, so if there's any more pressing questions, feel free and put them in the chat while we're here. Don't forget to fill out that attendance form, and I'll go ahead and put that link in there again. The attendance form is in the chat feature, or you can locate it at another time inside the announcements area inside Canvas. Thank you, Ms. Christine. You are more than welcome. We are always here to help you guys in any way we can. We've had really great feedback in the last sets of courses throughout all of July. We're getting geared up and ready for our one more set of courses for next week. We have Canvas Intermediate next week, as well as communication tools. And then we're gearing back up for more professional development to roll out in the next few weeks. So, Miss Linda, let me answer this question for you. If you are sending a Google Doc to that person, that test student that you're seeming to be working with, you need to make sure they have the capability to view or edit that doc. Or maybe just give us a little bit more detail in the process that you're working through in order for them to be assigned the Google Doc.
Also, is this test student account you're referring to, is that a true student account within our district that you might have access to via, a friend or family member, or is that just a generic account that you've created that's a at gmail.com account and not a true at robinson.k12.nc.us account? Because you may be running into issues where we don't allow outside email addresses to do certain things.
Well, Cole, she technically couldn't create that at Robinson account anyway, right?
No. Accounts are created, via a managed process, through PowerSchool and through Human Resources for students and staff.
So students in general may not have access to see things yet because the school year has not begun. And if at that particular school, if they're promoting students to new grade levels, they will not have that capability either.
Okay, it looks like she's just asking about a student view in Canvas.
So then it comes down to the rights given in Google Doc that she might have.
I think we need more clarification on exactly what she's asking.
But see, I think if she would have created, I think I understand that she's possibly added a student, but that student would technically have to receive that invite through the email. So I'm not I think there's like a broken link inside of this area.
Okay. So if she's invited a student to her sandbox course, like you said, absolutely, they would have to log into Canvas and accept the invitation to get inside of that sandbox course. But I think are we working with Canvas or are we working with Google Classroom?
Linda, if it's a little easier to email all components to what you're talking about, you can definitely email us so it's one-on-one. But if you want to keep going through the chat feature here, we can try to problem solve also. Totally up to you. Mr. Franklin, one screenshot for that whole Google folder. Just open up the Google folder with all the components inside it and just take a screenshot and then upload it into the Canvas assignment that it goes to is sufficient enough. It's fine. Screenshot tip, if you guys are having some issues with screenshots, take it on your cell phone or some type of mobile device, email it to yourself, and upload that way. Ms. Chapping, you're a great doobie for helping your fellow teachers out, but there will be training for them if, in fact, they hold tight. It will be forthcoming. I'm really glad that you decided to spend part of your summer with us during these courses, so thank you. You're welcome, Mr. Franklin. Any last questions before we cut you loose? Don't forget to fill out your attendance form. Don't forget that it is self-paced and the last date is August 15th for your coursework.